Yesterday, Wes Streeting said something that should alarm every single person in this country. He said Britain's future lies back in the European Union. One of the contenders for Prime Minister has told you he wants to surrender the borders, surrender sovereignty, pay back into the club, lose the pound and revert to the euro. And Andy Burnham, the other name in the frame, has said the same thing. Reset, closer ties, a new relationship. The language keeps shifting, but the direction of travel is blindingly obvious. So let's have the conversation they don't want to have. Not about sentiment, not about flags, about cold, hard facts. Because once you see the numbers, you'll understand exactly why they're not giving you the whole truth. Let's start with the bill. When the UK left the European Union, our annual net contribution to the EU budget was running at roughly £9 billion. That was after receiving money back from various EU programmes. £9 billion a year, and at the time that was considered absolutely enormous. So what if we rejoin? Analysis published this year, in March 2026, has calculated what membership would cost the United Kingdom today, and that figure is more than £31 billion every year. 31 billion every single year. That's double what we paid in our final most expensive year of membership. And what makes it even worse is that the EU have been crystal clear for years. Any returning member will receive no rebate. Margaret Thatcher negotiated a rebate for Britain back in 1984. It took years of fighting to get it, but if we rejoin, it's gone. The EU has ruled it out entirely. £31 billion a year. No negotiation, no discount, no way out. To put that in perspective, that is more than the entire budget of the Home Office. It is the equivalent of building dozens of new hospitals every single year, all gone to Brussels, and Streeting and Burnham want to hand it over willingly. Then there is the question they absolutely don't want you to ask. What about the euro? Any nation joining or rejoining the European Union is required to commit to adoption of the single currency. That means the pound, our pound. The currency this country has used for over 1,000 years. Gone. Now they will tell you it would take years, that there are opt-outs, that it might never happen. But let's look at what the euro has actually done for the countries that adopted it. Germany, the economic powerhouse of Europe, the country that was supposed to prove the euro worked, fell into recession in 2023, and that recession extended deep into 2024. Italy barely grew at all for an entire decade after adopting the euro in 1999. When a country joins a single currency, it completely loses control of its interest rates. It loses control of its monetary policy. It cannot devalue to stay competitive. It cannot respond to its own economic conditions. Inside the euro, the Bank of England becomes totally irrelevant. So the levers that a government pulls to manage the economy simply disappear. They won't exist. Now let us talk about the issue that decided the 2016 referendum: immigration. Rejoining the European Union means accepting free movement of people, all of it. Every citizen of all 27 member states, a combined population of around 450 million people, with the automatic right to live and work in the United Kingdom. This is not a theoretical concern. Between 2000 and 2016, net migration from the EU was ran at well over 200,000 people a year. This country is in the middle of a furious national conversation about immigration levels. The voters have spoken on it, election after election. And here are two men who want to lead the country, quietly preparing to hand all control back to Brussels forever. No British Parliament would ever be able to reduce EU migration again. The courts would stop it, the treaties would prevent it, and it would be permanent. There is one more thing they never mention when they talk about the benefits of membership: how the EU actually works. The European Union requires consensus. 27 countries with 27 sets of interests, 27 governments, 27 electorates. Every major decision has to be agreed, negotiated, amended, watered down, and then agreed again. Think about what that actually meant in practice. When COVID hit in 2020, the UK was outside the EU, so we ran our own vaccine procurement, and we moved fast. We rolled out faster than almost any country on earth. But EU member states, tied into a joint procurement programme, were months behind, and people died waiting for vaccines that the Brussels machine could not deliver in time. And when Donald Trump reshaped global trade, the UK was free to negotiate directly. The EU spent months trying to get 27 countries to agree a response. Speed matters, flexibility matters, sovereignty matters. And every single one of those things disappear the moment you hand the decision-making back to a committee of 27. Now, some will throw GDP figures at you. They will say Brexit damaged the economy. But there's something important to say here. In the first quarter of 2024, the United Kingdom recorded the highest GDP growth of any country in the entire G7. Higher than the United States, higher than France, higher than Germany. Germany, inside the EU, inside the euro, inside the single market, went into recession in 2023 and didn't recover through 2024. And Italy, a founding member of the EU, committed to European integration for decades, barely grew at all for a full decade after adopting the euro. So, the EU is not an economic cure. If membership guaranteed prosperity, Germany would not be in recession. France would not have public finances in a worse state than ours. And Italy would not have wasted a decade of potential growth inside the euro straitjacket. Rejoining will definitely not fix the UK economy. Instead, it will cost us £31 billion a year while tying our hands behind our backs with over-regulation and red tape. Streeting and Burnham agrees that Britain's future lies back in the European Union, but they are both very wrong. Britain's future lies in controlling its own borders, its own currency, its own laws, and its own trade. It lies in being able to move fast when the world changes. It lies in not writing a £31 billion cheque to Brussels every single year while our hospitals are underfunded, our roads are crumbling, and our people are being told there is no money. They will dress this up as vision, as progress, as being on the right side of history. What it actually is a surrender, and you deserve to know that. This is What They Won't Tell You UK. Please like, subscribe, share and comment below, because somebody has to say this out loud, and you deserve to know what's going on. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.